All right, then we're going to start on our backs. Now, if you have, and we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees dropping out. If you have two blocks or two cushions to place underneath your knees to support your hips, that would be amazing, because one of the points of the yin practice is to find stillness without, it's about not finding resistance, but it's also about being in a comfortable place without letting the mind run away and making it uncomfortable. So find some support in the posture as opposed to unsupported, and just get to that place of ease. So Sin, you could even rotate the blocks up if you wanted to, put them on a higher setting so that your knees have something really high to rest on. So feeling the shoulder blades melt down the back. Now just intuitively notice where the palms want to go. So they might want to go to the lower belly, and they might want to extend along your ears. They may want to just extend along your hips. The palms might want to rotate open. They might want to rotate down. Sorry, I sound Australian. I'm watching I'm a Celebrity too much, which I haven't. Disclaimer, I haven't been watching that. So just dropping into the body and just acknowledging the residue of your weekend in the body. So we're on our backs, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. There she is. Really nice. So just anchoring in, really nice. So using those props, and notice the sensations in the hips and how the body feels. And I want you to be really receptive to anything that you're feeling right now. Just let it come in, invite it in, because what we resist persists. And using these moments at the beginning of practice just to be curious about how you're feeling, where you're at. And I'd love for you to draw your awareness to that lower part of the body. Now, this is the part of the body that's very rich in connective tissues, which is why we focus on this part of the body a lot in our yin practice. So we're going to release our fascia. When fascia is tight, we get headaches, we get stressed, we feel all sorts of things. And at this time of year, the energy within us kind of likes to be a little bit more dormant. It doesn't need to be fast. It doesn't need to be go, go, go all the time. We need to find a place where our body can restore. And that's why the yin practice is so important. So I always say, if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. So making this time for yourself is so beneficial for your immunity, for your strength, your resilience, emotional, physical well-being. It's all there. And with that being said, I'd love for you to imagine the breath going very deep into the body, now deepest realms of the body, and just become aware of the heartbeat, aware of the points of contact touching the earth, and become aware of where the breath wants to go on its own. Now, without trying to change anything, just observe the breath's natural flow, your energy levels, the energy the breath is riding on, the quality of breath, quality of thoughts. And now start to anchor in to an intention for your practice. So noticing the neurological benefits of saying certain words to yourself. So words like yes, receptive words, words that open you up, words that are compassionate, words that are loving, words that move you forward. So just anchor into positive intentions with the words that you're using. And then again, anchor in deep with the breath, using that breath. Feeling that exchange of energy and matter, start to lengthen and stretch the breath. Maybe start to balance out each side of the breath, lengthening your inhales and your exhales. Get curious about the heartbeat. And always asking yourself where you can find a little bit of more softness and a little bit more ease in the body. Focus on those parts of the body. And then come back to your intention as you breathe through it. Now, what have you moved through recently that you could feel in your emotional and physical body? Can you allow for that to be there? And then ask whatever you're feeling to soften. So we need to physically soften and emotionally soften through our practice. It takes time, but it does happen. Always happens. Now, if you're feeling any tension or resistance to being in this pose, start to breathe to that a little bit more. And then start to pull the breath in now for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out. Hold it out. Feel the body, become aware of it. Aware of the workings of the body and aware of the workings of the mind. And then pull the breath in for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and hold. Hold on. Hold on. Now open the mouth. Exhale, 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 exhale. Release. Really nice. Now just stay with the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice any subtle changes in the physical body. And notice the workings of the mind here. Now, when we live from the workings of the mind, everything is either good or bad. When we live from this place of quietude, everything is a little bit better. Things make a little bit more sense. So making sure that you're living from this place in between stimulus and response. That's where the magic sits. So when things come our way, just always remember just to take a breath. Just take a breath. Stimulus, response. Find the gap. Lovely, guys. Now come back to your intention. Positive words, positive affirmations. Lovely. Reaffirming those new positive neural pathways in your body. As you crack open into the eyes, start to extend the arms alongside the ears as you start to extend the legs. Now, just feel the sensations in your body as you extend. Lovely. Spread through the fingers, spread through the toes. Really nice. Breathe to the side waist, the side body. Feel the expansion and contraction of your ribs as the breath moves in between. So it's a bit like the gills of a fish. You really expand and contract with the breath. Lovely. Now slowly just taking the left wrist with the right hand, start to bow the body over to the right. Just pull the left wrist with the right hand. Feel the upper body move over. Just keep making sure you melt that left shoulder blade down the back. Now start to, if you like, walk the feet over to the right and cross the left foot over the right if you have space. Lovely. Breathe into the left side body. Breathe to the left lung. Feel that expansive feeling as the breath moves through the body. Now, remember, you're going to be here for a little bit. So start at the easier end of the spectrum for yourself. And feel points of contact on the earth. Again, feeling that exchange energy and matter. You're oxidizing trillions of cells in your body. Super important that we do this. Super important that we acknowledge that we're doing this every day. That's how we slip into the gap between stimulus and response. That's how we move through this eightfold path that is yoga. And that's how we downregulate the stress response. And we're more present in our lives, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. That's the effect the yoga practice has on us as a society as well. You're raising consciousness as you stay with yourself, stay with your breath, sit with your emotions, feel them. Lovely. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Maybe go a little bit deeper with the pose. You've got a couple more minutes here, so making sure that you create space where space is needed without forcing. You want to meet your edge without going beyond it. And just remember to breathe. Find that breath that you just found. That pranayama that creates space. And maybe you restrict the back of the throat. Start to hear that oceanic sound of your ujjayi breath. Creates a little bit more heat in the body. Just feel the heart beating. Acknowledge the blood pumping. Notice everything that moves, that fluidity that lives inside of you in the stillness. And your bodies are a little bit like water. So we're 70% water, but our minds work in that way too. When our minds are still, if you were to throw a little pebble into a lake or the sea and it's completely still, you see those ripples moving for a long time. Those are your ideas, thought processes, planting. When the sea is busy or the lake is busy or water's busy and your mind is busy, you could throw a huge idea in there and you wouldn't be able to see it move. That's why it's so important to try and make our minds as still as we possibly can. Now, it's impossible to not produce thoughts. That's just what the mind does. But we can make a bigger gap in between every thought that we have just by being present with our breath and our bodies. Lovely. We've got about 10 more breaths to go here, so just make it count. If you wish to go deeper, then of course do so, or just stay as you are. And now slowly just gather everything back to center, just walking the upper body back. Lovely. And then just slowly taking the right wrist with the left hand, bowing over to the left now. Nice and easy. Again, starting at the easier end of the spectrum, walking that right foot over the left. If there's space for that, you're making that half moon shape with your body, banana shape. Lovely. And just notice and respecting the difference between each side of the body. Making space where space is needed. If you wish to deepen the pose, then start to use the breath. So use the inhalation to help you create a little bit more space. That's what the inhalation will help you to do. And again, just scanning the body, just trying to find places where you're gripping, where you don't need to be gripping. Now, there's always little parts of the body that does that. It's like your body's trying to protect you from danger, but it kind of needs your permission to soften. So just scan the body, become aware of every body part, points of contact on the earth, the way that you're feeling, and just notice where you're gripping. Quite often when people are anxious, they grip a lot in the shoulders and the hips. So just encouraging the shoulders down the back. You can lift up the upper body slightly if that helps. Soften through the face. When we look at phones, we frown when we're not even looking at them. So just making sure that the forehead is soft and the inner and outer quarters of the eyes. You're unhinging the jaw and the tip of the tongue is sitting on top of the roof of the mouth. And you're softening even that little space between the ears. Lovely. You've got about 10 more breaths to go. Just making them count. Invite the breath into the deepest realms of the body now. And then slowly just drawing everything back to center. Nice and easy. And then just hug the knees into the chest when we give yourself a hug and just rock out the lumbar spine a little bit. So gently rocking left to right. Lovely. And then just placing the palms on top of the knees and just circle out through the hips as you held the hips open for quite a while at the beginning of practice. So just checking in with the hips. There's a lot, again, this is a part of the body that's very rich in connective tissue. And now slowly just place the palms behind the thighs and rock yourself from the base of the spine all the way up. So just give the muscles that support the spine a little bit of a massage and then come all the way up to sit. Lovely. And then just take the soles of the feet together, let the knees drop out. So you're coming into butterfly pose, which is cobbler if you are familiar to a vinyasa practice, which I know a lot of you are. So for this pose, you can grab a little cushion or a blanket, place the sit bones on top, just to elevate the hips a little bit. This is just an option, you don't have to do that. Bring the soles of the feet together. Now, again, I know I always bang on about this, but if you want to make this harder, shift the hips forward. If you want to make it easier, shift the hips back, but don't move the feet, always move from the hips. And then I'd love for you to take an inhale, slide the hands and wrap them underneath the shin bone, and then start to drop the head down. Now you can, with this, place your blocks on your feet and have a little place for your forehead to rest. That's also a really nice place to hang out. We're going to be here for a little while, obviously not all day, but it's just a good place to set yourself up. Also, if you want to place blocks underneath the sides of the knees, like we did in Supta Baddha Konasana at the beginning of practice, then that's another option just to support the hips. So just letting everything soften a little bit, softening the face. Lovely. Breathe into the hip flexors, the hip, the inner and outer quarters of the hip joints. And just knowing that you're going to be here for a little while, just breathe to where you're feeling discomfort. Anywhere the hips are talking to you, just breathe to that place. Just encourage the breath there. And again, feeling the expansion, contraction of the lower belly. You'll really feel it now if you drop in. Some of you might feel your tummies rumble, even if you're full. That's actually the parasympathetic nervous system fully activating. So you're onto a winner there. You can hear that or feel it. Lovely. And just notice your energy levels. Get curious about how you're feeling physically as it starts to subtly shift and change. And every time the mind takes you out of the room you're in, just interrupt it with the breath. The mind is looking for something constantly to worry about, to protect you. So just give it the breath. That's all it needs. It's all it needs in this moment is the breath. Softening in, tuning in to tune out. Just interrupt the mind if it's taking you away. Just bring it back to the breath. Bring it back to the pose. Notice the resistance to the pose. Just breathe into it. Again, meet your edge. Don't go beyond it. And we've got about 10 more breaths to go, so make them count. Stretch the breath. Lovely. Slowly start to walk yourself back up. Walk the hands up. Really nice. And just take the hands behind you. So palms rotate back. So the heels of the hands are behind you. And then just windscreen right to the legs for me from left to right. So just feeling that release. Really lovely, guys. And take the head and neck to neutral. Beautiful. Lovely. And then slowly just walk the palms forward. Just a moment, we're going. So we're coming into melting heart pose. So knees are underneath the hip, and you're going to walk the hands forward, and you're going to melt the heart, closing the neck, guys. You know the drill. Forward. Now, resist the urge to take the chin down like you're in puppy. Try and take the forehead down or to block if you need to. Again, because you know you're going to be hanging out here for a little while. So again, don't force anything. Don't want to be overdoing it. Just go where it feels good. Breathe, breathe. Lovely. And then just making sure the hips are in line with the knees for this one. Lovely. Get curious about the thoughts that your mind starts to try and produce in this pose. Without rushing to send them on their way, just get curious about them and then send them on their way. That is the practice. If you catch yourself deep in thought, don't beat yourself up. That is the practice. You've caught yourself. And try and resist the urge to move, to adjust things, just stay still. That is the challenge. You want to be receptive to whatever it is you're feeling, physically and emotionally. And again, just interrupt the mind with your awareness if it's run away. Start to deepen the breath a little bit more. You've got about 5 more breaths. Lovely. Now just sink the sit bones back, walk the hands up, just coming to a child's pose, knees wide. Now if you have a bolster, place it in front of you. If you've got cushions or blocks, it's going to be a more supportive child's pose. So grabbing your bolster and just placing it horizontally in front of you, or with cushions, and then just start with the head turning to the right. So the right side of the head and the temple are down. Lovely. And just softening in, just cradling yourself with your breath, and just allowing yourself to be in. Danielle, if you just make your bolster go the other way, so that's it. Lovely. And then you can hug it a bit better. Perfect. Lovely. So just softening in, softening through the face, unhinging the jaw. Lovely. Just making those subtle cues that are very important. When we open the hips, we tend to grip the jaw, we grip our face, our hips, and that part of the body are really interlinked. So a lot of our communication center sits in this part of the body, which is why our face can react. It's like an emotional response. So just releasing the fascia, letting that blood flow run through you. Lovely. You really opening that band of connective tissue now. So if any emotions come up, let them. Feel any fluctuations in your emotions. Remember, they arise because they're meant to be felt. Give yourself permission to feel what you need to feel. What we resist persists. And I like to say our issues are stored in our tissues. Our body keeps the score. So just let yourself feel things. It's the resistance to it that causes the long-term sensations that we don't want. And then slowly, if you haven't done so already, just turn your head to face the other way. Lovely. So you've got an even place for head and the neck. Just notice if mind is drifting away, just bring it back to the breath and the heartbeat. Notice any resistance to stillness. See if you can breathe a little bit deeper, using the diaphragm to breathe. We've got about 10 more breaths to go. So really getting curious about the cyclical movement of the way the breath enters the body and leaves the body, entering the body, really oxidizing all the trillions of cells that make up you. And the exhale, releasing toxins, releasing anything you don't need anymore. So using any visualizations to help you here. So inviting in everything you need, letting go of anything you don't need. And just ask yourself what you might be running from as you let go. Lovely. And then just slowly, whenever you're ready, just walk the hands up. So you're coming to a kneeling position at the back of your mat. And then shift the sit bones to the floor. I'll just demo. We're just coming to a half lateral dragonfly, which is a bit like tree pose on the floor. And you're going to take the right foot inside the inner left thigh. And then just take a little twist so that the navel center is in line with the top of the left thigh. And you can grab a bolster or anything you need. We're just going to take a gentle forward fold over that leg. So we're not using a muscle, we're getting into the ligaments, bones, and connective tissue. So you don't need to force anything here. You just gently hold yourself. You don't need to reach forward, grab the toes, all of that. You just need to let the body melt over that leg and just grab any props that you need. You might want to make a little tower with your bolster and your blocks if you have them, or anything you have around the house. So there's nothing that I would cue that you wouldn't have around the house. So you can switch out, you can use books instead of blocks and cushions instead of bolsters, just anything that supports the pose and helps you feel less resistance to it. Nice in, love it. Lovely. Just softening the muscles in the face. Lovely. Notice any subtle changes. So you might feel the body naturally going deeper as you inhale, when the longer you hold the pose for. Don't worry if that's not the case for you. Meet yourself where you are, obviously, and just be receptive to how you feel. Just let it be. Lovely, guys, and nice and easy. Start to walk yourself up. Really gorgeous. And then we're just going to change legs. So just switching out the legs. Susie, I love that prop adaptation. Beautiful. I'm going to try that one myself. It looks great. Really nice. So then slowly just melting down. Again, you're not getting into the muscle, you're getting into the ligaments and bones and the connective tissue. So don't worry about, grabbing the toes, having a super straight leg. You want to find comfort and you want to find a little bit of ease, especially through the vertebrae of the spine. So grabbing any cushions, any props, anything to support the body as it gently folds over that left leg. That might be the other leg, excuse me. Breathe to the back body. And just deepen the breath. We've got about 10 more breaths to go, so it helps to count them to keep you present. So just count the inhale, exhale 1, inhale, exhale 2. Just keep going like that in your own time. And when you get to 10 in your own time, guide yourself out. It'll be different for all of you, different length of breath. Lovely, guys. And if you haven't done so already, start to guide your way out when you reach that 10th breath. Lovely, beautiful. And then slowly start to come to lie down on your back, nice and easy. Draw the palms forward, manipulate the spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Lovely, just finding length and depth and space as you move and breathe. Really nice. Take the feet wider than the mat and the knees knocking in to touch. So soles of the feet to the floor, knees knocking in, constructive rest. Take the arms wide and then just wrap the right arm underneath the left as you take the palms on top of the shoulders and just breathe. Releasing the lower back. Lovely. Now slowly release that bind. Take the arms wide, but just feel every sensation as you move the arms. So just feel everything that's working to move the body, and then slowly again become familiar with the sensations as you cross the left arm underneath the right, just changing the cross of the arms, giving yourself a hug. Go slowly without disturbing central nervous system. Encouraging the shoulders down the back. You can give your shoulders a little squeeze, anything that feels okay for you. Just inviting the breath a little bit deeper. Just giving your shoulders a little squeeze, a little bit of self massage, self reassurance, self love, super important. Really nice. And then slowly release. Now, options here, we're going to take the legs up. So it's good to do it against a wall before you sleep. So if you have a wall available, go for it. Otherwise, place a block or a cushion underneath your sacrum and just send the legs up towards the sky. So feeling that the blood is draining from the legs to the pelvic bowl, but the body is going to be working to pump the blood back into the legs. So it's very passive, active passive pose. And a really lovely place to send us to sleep. So just letting the body do its thing, working its thing, sending blood to all the right places. Notice what that does to the workings of the mind. And just dropping in. Let the legs feel heavy. Do soften the face. Again, notice how this pose makes you grip in certain places of the body. So just giving yourself permission to soften again. Just feel that rhythmic sensation of your breath. Lovely, guys. And whenever you're ready, slowly release the legs down. You can stay here for your Shavasana if you'd prefer. If you wish to come out, then slowly come down. And I'd love for you to place any cushions, any bolsters horizontally just underneath the knees, so you've got a bit of elevation for your knees. And then just rock the body down, getting as comfortable and as cozy as possible for your final resting pose, setting you up for sleep, releasing control of the breath. Cradle yourself with the breath and just allowing everything to be as it is. So when the weather gets cooler like this, we draw our energy inward. So we need to pause, take stock, and just restore the body, especially at this time of year. So just making sure that you can feel that energetically and being receptive to that energetically as you move from doing to being. And now just let the breath explore the body on its own. Let the breath do what it's there to do. So your breath becomes involuntary. Let the body breathe you. And just stay with yourself and rest here. If you wish to stay in your Shavasana, then of course you can stay for as long as you need. If you wish to come out, then just drop the head to the left and then over to the right and then back to the left and then to the right. Feel that the head is heavy in the skull. And then maybe invite movement back in by moving your fingers in the toes. Come back to the physical body And then extend the arms alongside the ears. If your legs are against the wall, then start to draw them down, hug the knees to chest. And then everyone give yourself a big cuddle. Roll to the right side of your body. Just pause here, feeling integration, connection to your body, your breath, your intention, strengthening those positive neural pathways, acknowledging what that does, acknowledging the power of words. And then slowly in your own time, guiding yourself up to sit nice and easy, nice and slowly, finding length through the spine, finding the root through the sit bones and the length through the spine and the growth through the crown of the head. Feeling the muscles that are supporting the spine as the breath moves through the body. And notice how amazing you are. Your amazing heartbeat, your energy, your physical and emotional energy, everything that you give out. Everything that you receive. And then slowly bringing the palms to heart center and just making sure that we use that compassionate instinct that lives inside of us to really expand and connect with everyone around us. And translating the kindness that you've given yourself on the mat this evening to everyone you meet as you move through your week this week. And then bowing the chin to your chest in gratitude for your mobility, your body, your practice, and all the teachings. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely evening.